Docs chat.
HD, welcome on in.
Go.
Ning, how you doing? How you doing? All right, here, I'm gonna get the link posted in Discord and then we'll be good to go.
Sounds good.
Appreciate everybody being here. Then we'll be good to go.
Sounds
How do I do this? What's up? What's up, Nun? How you doing? Trying to figure out how to get my. There it is. All right.
You got it.
Okay, let me just do that.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Hope everybody's doing well on this fine Tuesday. There we go.
All right. All right. All right. Are we good to go?
I think so, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
Oh boy. All right. So it's 23, was it?
Yes. Yep. Jordan.
Right.
We got Jordan, baby.
Let's go. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Voices of Verra, Ashes of Creation live stream / podcast with myself, Nice Gaming, and Is There No One Else? We are both live and available on Twitch and YouTube. We appreciate all of you being here while we talk some Ashes of Creation. I really hope you guys enjoy. Really appreciate it. The other guy's volume is kind of low, hard to hear him. L, speak again. He's kind of his normal volume.
Should be okay. Mic check.
Whoa,
1 2 1 2.
We didn't say yell at us. Calm down. It
Mic
was just
check.
a suggestion.
Here we go. Is this good?
Yeah,
we good. We better.
Let us know if that's better, Ning. Big Dog. Yeah. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitch and YouTube right now. But I was like, you know what? With their multi-stream policy, I might as well. Dive into the Twitch world. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys. He said it's much better. Make sure you guys give us a follow on Twitch as well as YouTube. Appreciate you guys. We got a lot on the agenda today. Some stuff that we hope you guys enjoy. We know you enjoy, and it's gonna be a fun one. It is gonna be a fun one. I got a different kind of background format. Kind of went back to my old way. Trying a new Twitch backdrop. I need to make it easier to read with maybe a black backdrop or something. But this is I just started streaming, so you guys got to forgive me if everything's not perfect. HD says, get the sub button already. I'm trying, man. I need you to help me get there.
All right. Sorry, I just had to make a post in the Voices of Verra podcast in our Discord over there because I realized I haven't done that before the live streams.
Yeah.
So
we need to start pinning that comment. That Discord link. We don't have a permanent link. That's why I haven't been doing it.
We don't have. I thought I made one. I thought because I changed the settings, we should be able to have a permanent one. Let me. I'll check that later. I'll get that.
Yeah.
I changed the settings, so we should be able to now.
Okay. All right. So I have my stream title a little different today, if I recall correctly. So what I wanted to focus on today was the solo player outcry. Like, what about the solo player in
Okay.
Ashes of Creation? And then I saw we had a couple of good PvP discussions as well. And I know you had some stuff in your comment section. So I think
Yes.
we'll start. Well, where did you want to start?
So I posted a little something today, and we can start wherever. Like I'm down to talk about all of it because, like you said, there's a lot to talk about. You want to start with the YouTube comments, and then we'll go to the next stuff, or
yeah, I like that
okay.
idea. So here, chat. I'm gonna make it so that you can see my screen here shortly. I'll pull up the first portion, and then obviously we'll bring up the follow up. Here, let's see.
We talking about your top one here, the PvP reveal soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Crash, welcome on in. Contagious says, you guys make me choose between this and office hours. Dude, I was in the office hours. I got there.
I know, man. I
didn't realize that you had to click the little wave button to ask to speak or whatever to be brought up. So I just kind of missed my opportunity. But by the time I was probably going to get up there, it was like probably going to be stream time. So I was like, we'll have our own office hours. How you doing, Knight? Welcome on in.
I saw that post on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to listen to this. I'll be able to listen to it 30 minutes before the live stream. Mm-hmm. And my girls got a little sick, so I wasn't able to listen to it. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, hey, why are they encroaching their hours on our podcast? Don't they know Tuesdays are night, and we have internet rights? That's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
like the competition.
Personally. No, I don't like it at all.
All right, chat. So once again, we appreciate you guys being here. We're going to get into our very first topic. So we got a couple of YouTube comments this week. I know YouTubers getting YouTube comments. I know you guys, it's going to be hard for you guys to believe me. But no, so this was on my video I did this previous week. My most recent Ashes of Creation video, Ashes of Creation PvP reveal soon. What I did in this video was just pretty much, it's a little early. I'm sure a lot of people will be putting this video out after this showcase or leading up to next month. But I wanted to go ahead and just I'm just so excited about the stream. I was like, I want to discuss this. So I just pretty much went over expectations, what I want to see, what to expect, what we shouldn't expect, or, maybe not reading too much into things, but hoping that Intrepid has a lot of stuff ready to be showcased and things that I'm going to be looking for in general. So this person commented, this is user GC, and obviously to preface this is not to call out this person or go in on anyone in these comments that we show. This is just this is merely to start a conversation, as always. As with any forum post or okay, there are some forum posts where it's just all right, I'm going in on you, but that's very rare, very rare. There's nothing wrong with having a different opinion, and I think that's where the best conversations start. And sometimes you change your mind, sometimes you get to see a new outlook. But anyways, I digress. This is from user GC1. He says PvP will be run by the guilds with the houses and the tediously grinded gear. Single players get lost. LOL. I give up on MMOs. So we have a follow-up comment to that. So someone commented on that, and I'll go ahead and pull up that image now. And that's what you guys see here on screen. So then there was a follow-up comment. I think I commented, and then this person commented because I basically said something along the lines of, and did I get to include that? Yeah. Okay. So someone commented saying, and I think this was the same video if I remember pulling these images correctly. They said, why should they encourage group play? So just based off the previous comment and the one we are looking at right here, you see that these are two people that don't like the group play portion of MMOs. Hear me out, chat. This is a thing that's actually happening. We have two people that don't like the group portion of having to play MMOs. This right here is already off to a peculiar start. I'd like to go ahead and if you guys would like to go ahead and start typing your thoughts on this mindset. In my opinion, I'll save it. I want Els to give his first, but let's at least read the whole comment first, and then let's get Elsa's and you guys' opinion from you, the voices of Verra. So, why should they encourage good group play? There are a lot of people that don't have the time to wait for groups or aren't up to the elite standard, the min max and hardcore leveling people to run in their group. Would like to see an MMO where most things, including dungeons, can be done solo by having the mobs change difficulty according to the number of people attacking it or something like that, as I am sure that example could be exploited. I kind of enjoyed Final Fantasy group bots for solo people, but even that got old. I just prefer the scaling method. I don't always play solo. I have a handful of friends who occasionally may play the same game. I don't think it is unreasonable to not to always, excuse me, want to or have joined group with strangers, something, whatever that sentence. I am 46 and don't need more friends, and I have a social life already. So, oh wow, I actually forgot about that last portion. Okay. I'm gonna read that last part again. I don't think it's unreasonable not to always want to or have to join a group with strangers. I am 46 and don't need more friends and have a social life already. So, else, and you, the voices of Vera, we can't do this without you. If you have feedback, go ahead and type it. We'll read it. Make your voices heard. But else, I would like to go ahead and get your feedback on this because this is something.
Yeah, so I'll say this as a resident introvert, which is kind of shocking to nobody. But yes, I am an introverted person by nature. I totally understand the perspective of wanting to do things on your own. I totally understand the perspective of not relying on other people for things. And basically, sometimes when you want to hop on a game, you just want to play something by yourself. There are lots of games for that. There are so many different games for that. And there are some group-based games. There are some games that are meant to be played as a group, and Ashes of Creation is one of them. There are other MMOs I've played that are a lot more solo-based. There's even a video that came out, I think, yesterday or today. That's the best solo MMOs for players in 2024 from Lucky Ghost. But yeah, I think what a lot of people forget is the M and M in MMO is massively multiplayer, and it is supposed to be the Ashes is trying to bring that aspect back. There's so many games out there that exist right now that do cater to the more solo type of gameplay. And so what I would say is you don't have to be a hardcore, like, I'm going to play this game every single day and this is going to fulfill everything that I want. But what I would say is Ashes of Creation is going to be more group-based. That's what they're trying to do. They want to have people work together. And if you are one of those people that doesn't want to work together that often with people, you might want to have a rotation of games. You might want to have just a few other games on the side to play to fill that solo player itch. Because, yeah, I think when you start catering for everybody, I think that's when stuff gets lost along the way. I think that's what Nice and I have found. That's what Nice and I have found in other games. And so I think them sticking to a more group-based thing, not that everything is going to be group-based in Ashes, they are going to have solo-based content as well. But yeah, if you're not getting your itch filled in that way, you should go to another game and play another game for a bit. So what do you think, Nice?
So what I responded to this person was at the very bottom there. I forgot to actually read it. I said, because it's an MMO. And I could have just left it there. I said, because it's an MMO, I said, ESO is super solo friendly. I'd recommend it for a good MMO where a lot can be accomplished solo. Now, I want to start this off by first, I guess the word would be empathizing per se. I get, like else said, I get that sometimes you just want to hop on. You don't want to get on mic. You don't want to just interact with people. You feel maybe you just want to go grind some mobs and you just want to level this. You don't feel like being social. But for this specific gaming genre. I think for this specific gaming genre of MMOs, that's almost not to say you can't have your days or your times where you just want to chill and go do your own thing, but to want that or to want the game to be designed about the around that willpower, around that desire rather, is a little bit selfish, and I think there's other avenues to do so. We have these things that take the MMO out of the equation of MMORPG, and they're called RPGs,
Yeah.
single player RPGs. Those exist. You can play those. Um, Furthermore, I don't think this is something that people should be looking for from Ashes. I think in Ashes of Creation, this is it's tied into the very fabric of the game. Like you should want to be social in an MMO. Like you don't have to be the most, the life of the party and making friends with everyone. But to me, that just rubs me the wrong way that you want a solo experience from this game. I think like El said, people do videos about, hey, you can play this MMO solo, you can do this content solo. I think we have those MMOs already, so why are we trying to make another one? This goes back to this thing that probably comes up once an episode, right? Where we talk about like, just go play those other games. Stop trying to change this so much.
Yeah.
Give your feedback. Yes, we want to see this change, or I would like to see them explain this, or I wish they did this way. That's fine. Provide feedback. That's the whole point of open development. But people just trying to change the core fabric of the game, I will never understand. And this part at the end, when he said he was 46 and don't have time, I was so sure he was about to say, I got 3 wives and 14 dogs. I think he was about to continue going on like that. But he says, I am 46 and don't need more friends. And I have a social life already. Like that mindset, like that's, I mean, to each their own. That's fine and fair. But
yeah. That's great. Congratulations. That's awesome.
We're so happy for you. But like wanting to do this content in a game solo is just baffling to me. Like it's so baffling, but I'll leave all that on the table for you guys to decide. But my thing is there's MMOs that are, I think ESO is one of the most solo friendly MMOs. I haven't played every MMO, but in my opinion, ESO has been, and maybe MMOs in general have just been going more and more towards that solo friendly aspect. We saw it recently with I think it was this recent World of Warcraft patch or something. They I don't know. It was something. We talked about it on one episode, but now they're basically our NPC stand-ins. So yeah. And else, I know you hate waiting for a queue on New World. Like no one needs to do this content, so there's no one in the queue. I went through that yesterday actually, so I get the frustration of having to wait for a group.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you, and yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like it's very rare that one game fills like all of our gaming needs. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you want to play one game, sometimes you want to play another game. Like Nice and I occasionally play Among Us, and it's a great time because we make Sawman really mad, and yeah, we maybe play once every couple months. I enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. I have a lot of fun playing it, but I'm mostly a PvP player, so I play it for like a week and then I go back to play PvP games because that's what I enjoy more. Not that it's a bad game, not that I dislike it or I'm bored of it or anything like that. It's just like I like a different type of game a little bit more, and so I want to play that too. And so when I think for this type of person, like I don't know, we'll have to see what type of solo content they're going to have and everything, but it's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. It's in the name. And so you're going to have to do group stuff. And as an introvert, I get it. I totally get it. But yeah, this is how they want to build the game. And if it's not interesting to you, that's cool. If it is interesting to you, then yeah, like try it out. I think you're going to have fun. So.
And I don't want to speak for else here. I'll speak for myself, but I don't think there's anything wrong with solo content existing alongside group content in an MMO. Like Vadisher and Arena on the Elder Scrolls Online was one of my favorite things to do. Like, did I love it more than PvP? No, but I really enjoyed doing that solo content that offered. And Maelstrom Arena when it first came out. And they had this new thing, which I don't think you've tried either, else I haven't tried it, but it's basically a duo version of those solo trials, if you will.
Yep.
And so there's nothing wrong with those. I like those in games. That's perfectly fine and dandy. But to want main group dungeon content and stuff like that revolve around that, to want NPCs to take the place of regular players so you don't have to socialize, like we saw Elder Scrolls Online kind of lean towards that when they introduced the companions. I can see the benefits of it. I'm not saying like, oh, don't have that in the game, but I see why people want it. But let's not try to kill the social aspect of MMOs, in my opinion. And you got any comments to get to before I start reading something else?
Nope. Go ahead.
All right, so let's check in with the voices of Verra here. Knight Templar, if I didn't already say hello, hello, welcome on in. Goobak says, just go play WoW. Yeah, like we were saying, yeah, it's just you have other options. How you doing? Welcome on in, Conkush. Click the preview says, I don't think Steven cares if AOC is a huge success. I think he's just making a game that he will enjoy. And if others enjoy it too, so be it. Oh, I like that comment. You know, is there anything wrong with that? Wouldn't we all do it? I think Steven's trying to make I think he's going for both. What his definition of success will be is, up to him, but I think he wants and I think he's been on record saying he just wants a good MMO, excuse me. And he wants a game that he can play because what was his inspiration? He got tired of these MMOs that we have. I think Arcade was his breaking point, if I remember correctly. He wants like the best of all these MMOs he's played without the downsides, without the cons, without the pay to win, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think you're actually right. I think you're right, and hopefully he gets time to play him because every time we check in with Steven, it's always like I remember he said he didn't have time to play Elden Ring. I remember he said he didn't have time. It was something else recently that he didn't have time to play. Well, anything. He doesn't have time to game anymore. He said that's the irony of like, putting all this work into making a game. He hasn't had time to game. So hopefully he gets that time. Hopefully, like a month after AOC launches, he has a chance to just sit back in the chair and not for like PR stuff, not for, stream stuff, just like sit
Just for
down and
fun.
actually play.
Yep. Yeah, it's put yourself in like the shoes of Steven, right? When they came and Intrepid, when they decided that they were going to do their Kickstarter for Ashes of Creation. They post it, they say, hey, this is our idea. We kind of want crowdfunding. We want to gauge interest, and they break Kickstarter records off of donations, off of what the idea of their game is. And so my point of view is if I had an idea for a game and then I break records because so many people are interested in the type of game that I want to make, why would I change it before Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Beta, before anything gets tested? Like, clearly people like the idea. People are interested in the idea. I know they said at one point, I can't remember when it was, but this is like a year ago now. I remember Steven saying something along the lines of, they have 100,000 people ready for sign up for concurrent monthly subscribers on day one. So day one, like, we don't even know when Alpha 2 is out yet, but when this game comes out, there's over 100,000 people signed up for monthly subscriptions. And so you compare that to other games, and like, the game's not out and they're already competitive. And so there's people very, very interested in this type of game. Obviously, some people are going to be against it. They want games to be more like what they like. And I totally understand, because this game is something that I like. So I get it. But yeah, I just don't understand the need to like try to have like you said earlier, Nice, try to have a game be changed. That it's just, if you like what it is, follow along, whatever. And if you don't like it, find something else. Like, it's cool.
You actually lit a light bulb over my head when you said it's going to be something so simple, and it's probably going to be common sense to a lot of you in chat. But else, the way he said something there kind of made me realize something. Like when he said, like 100,000 or whatever amount of people is already signed up. What's funny about like worrying about population or success and all these other things? Do you guys remember? And I hope a lot of you share this sentiment with me. I hope it's like a brain blast for you too. But do you guys remember that our Alpha 2 packs came with is it a year or 9 months of game time?
Mine's 6, yeah. 6 months.
It might be 6 months actually. Yeah.
Yep.
It came with like months of game time. So not only like really think about what that truly means, chat. Like not only are this many people signed up, we have a guaranteed player base. Now, obviously, that they don't have to log in every day. They don't have to keep playing the game. They may not even enjoy the game and stop playing after a week. But 6 months of like all these people, not to mention people that's going to come later, right? All these people already have minimum 6 months like game time already paid for. They're not gonna have to sit there and worry about like, do I want this? Can I afford this? Whatever. It's already done. Like of Creation already has 6 months of guaranteed success, ideally, which is really big for a subscription-based game. Now you have other MMOs that did like a box cost, like i.e. New World. You bought that game, you realize after a month it's just a shitty launch, and you'll have to check back on it later, right? And then that's just that. You didn't have a subscription. There wasn't nothing tying you to like encourage you to log in. Like, oh, well, I already paid for it. Might as well finish out the month. No, like there's gonna be so many people that already have it paid in advance, which that's something I don't think about, and I almost see like that. It at least gives a safety net of guaranteed success, if you will. Like that's not gonna be new money coming to Intrepid per se, because that subscription is already tied into your cost, right? But still, I just think it's interesting to know that players won't have to worry about that for 6 months. A lot of Alpha 2 players at least won't.
Well, let me ask you this, Nice. So it was earlier this year or late last year. They said they had 100,000 people signed up for Alpha 2, and then they've had more since then, and it's closing January, like we all know. What do you think the number is for people that will be ready for Alpha 2 when Alpha 2 goes live?
So I got a feeling. So if that was that number, then without having to look at their back end financials, whatever, just taking a shot in the dark here. If they had 100,000 at that point, and then you factor in how many people FOMO'd and bought the pack recently because of the packs ending on January 17th, 2024. If you need to do that, referral link is in the description. No. If you factor in how many people FOMO went and bought their packs since then, because a lot of people were just waiting for a date or at least a year, right?
Yep.
And they don't want to miss out on an Alpha 2. So if you factor in that, I wouldn't be surprised if that number is close to have doubled since then. Like maybe, especially, just factoring the time, I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 150 to 175,000. I don't want to say doubled. I'm gonna say 150 to 175,000 signups for Alpha 2. If I had to just take a shot in the dark.
Yep, that's exactly where I am. I think it's somewhere in the 150 to 200K range. It could be more. Like it could be more. Who knows? But yeah, I think there's somewhere around there. And like you said, everybody that signed up for Alpha 2 has 6 months of membership. And so we're talking when the game launches, this is our numbers, guys. This is Intrepid's numbers.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. I think we're looking at 150,000 plus concurrent subscribers, and the map is like there will be servers full of players, and so which is a big deal for an MMO. I mean, you look at what happened with New World, where we're kind of collapsed, and nothing worse than having a group-based game where there's nobody to play and you can't find groups, right? And so I think them coming out of the gate so strong, plus you're going to have the FOMO of everybody else where they're like, hey, it's $18 to try it for a month. Sure, I'll spend, or $15. I'll try it. I think you're going to see that big launch wave, and regardless of what happens, some people will fall off or whatever. I think you're going to have a teeming population immediately, and I think that's a big thing for a startup MMO. So
nice. Before we move on to our next subject, let's catch up with the voices of Verra here.
Sure.
Sorry, chat. I know we're kind of talking, but these are some hot topics we've been sitting on for a while. Appreciate the feedback. Barry says, I don't see why it has to be played as a group. And if for those of you that's just now joining chat, we had a YouTube comment basically saying, what about the solo player? I'm 46. I don't want to make friends. I just want to use bots. I don't want to have to group with people. And that's what we're addressing right now. Barry says, I don't see why it has to be played as a group. A lot of the activities sounds like they are based around the node. Oh, so Barry's on the other side. This is interesting. I like this. Can't you interact with node mechanics without having to become best friends? So let me attack this, Barry. So I see what you're saying. And the reality is, well, you're right. A player doesn't have to group in Ashes of Creation per se. It's a social MMO. A lot of aspects of the game will want you to, if you want to be successful, will want you to build relationships, join a guild, build partnerships, group up, take out that end game content. You don't have to per se. You can, I think, and I didn't start thinking about this until you worded it that way. When you reference the node as the main thing instead of you as the main character, in a weird sense, depend on your mindset. I mean, call it mental gymnastics if you want, but if you look at it from a certain perspective, you could treat AOC, if you want to be in your little box or whatever, you can treat AOC as a single player game. Like, you can worry about contributing to your node, gathering resources, doing those buy orders, helping escort the mayoral caravan will be like the only group thing you do. You know, you show up, make sure that caravans are being escorted properly. You do all this stuff for your node. You see a corruption zone's getting a little out of control. Maybe you go try to solo it. It probably won't be soloable. So maybe you see someone type in the area chat or whatever saying, hey, this corruption is getting really close to our town. If we don't tackle this right now, we're going to get a certain world event that we don't want to happen. NPCs are going to raid our node. And that's how you can help contribute. So, in a sense, you're right if you look at it from that perspective. As far as like tackling certain world bosses and all this extra stuff, you're going to want to socialize with other players. And that's what this game is trying to lean you towards. And see, this is why we get
Good
behind on
answer.
chat, because you guys are so freaking awesome. Like, I'm probably like 10 minutes plus, 15 minutes plus behind on chat, because every time you guys say something like that, it's a whole nother tangent. Else, you got anything with that?
No, he brought up a good point, and yeah, like I think there's going to be a lot of crafting and harvesting stuff that I think there will be a lot of solo content, but this is a game based around you're not going to be able to do everything for yourself. So even if you are a top tier crafter in one thing, if you want to have access to other things, you're going to have to interact with people, whether that's buying stuff or trading, bartering, whatever. They're just trying to make it more social. It doesn't mean you have to be extremely extroverted or anything like that, but coming from a guy that the vast majority of his ESO gameplay was solo PvP, I'm going in Ashes expecting that I'm going to be playing with a group. I'll play some solo, I'll try, but I'm expecting to work with a group, and so that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to something new. I'm looking forward to something exciting. I don't want Ashes to change their game to something that I've played before and I enjoyed. I like this game for the idea that it is. That's my perspective.
Yeah. But great comment there, Barry, because I never looked at it from that perspective, but yeah, great comment. And on the same subject matter, Night Templar says, I had the same mindset for the first full year or two within ESO. It's not rare among players. I think it takes getting used to for some of us. Oh yeah, for sure. And like El said, I think I was a little antisocial in ESO as well, because I mean, you you didn't need to be super social. Obviously, eventually built my community. I had a core group of friends I'd play with and group up with sometimes, but typically I was out there solo trying to 1vx the world. And Concourse on Twitch says, yeah, big homie is tripping. MMO is the first part. Facts. I'm 38, 8 kids, 4 dogs, 9 cats, ducks, chickens, rabbits, and a snake, and I'm gonna play when I can.
And you got a snake too, dude? That's sick. Nice.
Because of that snake, I don't think you're gonna have enough time because of that one. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of responsibility there. Ides385 says, sounds like they maybe want a solo/co-op game like Valheim, not an MMO. Yes, massively multiplayer online games. So that's a no on seeing car races then. Warrior, how you doing? He says, been playing classic WoW a ton. I group all day with randoms and hardly any words are said. You get the whole NPC experience with real players. I love that. Oh, that's a great comment. I'm sure you go through it when you did your random normal dungeons on ESO.
Yeah.
Like, unless content is super difficult, you don't need to communicate. Maybe in a random normal dungeon or a random dungeon, you type like, does everyone know the mechanics? All right, let's go. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows their job. You click the ads. If there's a certain mechanic, depending on how old the content is, it's just, no communication needed. You don't send those guys a friend request afterwards just because they did well. You didn't build a relationship. So yeah. Still in office hours, awesome. Fox says one thing AOC has gone for is that there is no huge publisher or board of directors on their neck.
Yes.
That cannot be understated. Yes, yes, indeed. No board of directors to answer to. Nobody to rush the product out for money. I've seen it happen so many times. How many times we got to worry about a comeback story, a game releases unpolished, and we'll actually be talking about one of those games later in the podcast. But how many times have we seen unfinished product like, oh, we'll fix it later, just get it out there, get those pre-orders, get that money, we need to sell DLCs, sell them these skins, etc., etc. So yeah.
Yep.
I don't even have a PC, but I'm gonna get one just for this game. Let's go. I plan on buying the Alpha 2 pack and then hopefully build my PC before it opens. Nice. The snake's the big issue. Yes. Yeah, exactly, Fox. Go play Palia. There you go. Ashley Relation says, "What up? I was just in office hours. Good chat on Artisans. Yeah, dude. This was the first one I was actually able to catch. I was in there a little bit before stream. I didn't have time to like actually get called up, but I hope they do another one around this time frame later in the day. It seems like they always do it while I'm at work, but
Yeah.
hopefully they start doing some of these afternoon ones. It should be easy with them being a Western time zone, but hopefully they start doing them around this time frame or close to it so that more people can get in. But yeah. Dude, if peeps were good in arenas or dungeons, I might recruit them. Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I actually met some people. You ever like be PvPing and you and some random gets like a 2vx, or it's like just you, this random, and it's like, it don't gotta be nothing dramatic, just like 5 enemies, but you two work together, you time stuff even without comms, you flow well. Some of those people, like, you whisper them GG, or maybe you send them a friend request, etc., etc. I met a lot of people that way, actually. Yeah.
Yep. Same.
If you're just now tuning in, we are live on YouTube and Twitch. So is there no one else? Make sure you guys are following and subscribe to him as well. We appreciate you guys. I think next up we're gonna be multi-streaming to Spotify or something. We'll see.
Yeah, we should get the podcast over to Spotify. I'll take a look at that this week. Just so we have another source for people and everything. I see a few other podcasts doing it. It's like, hey, we should maybe do that too.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah. So you got more over there? Do you want to do the next discussion?
Let's do the next one. Go on. Thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for the follows on Twitch. Let's go. Was your comment the next one? Your YouTube comment?
Yeah. I got a pretty good comment as well.
All right, let me get back to the chat and pull that up. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, here's yours. All right, I have it pulled up. Let's make sure chat can see it, because chat be all nosy and wanting to see stuff. God dang.
I don't know why.
All right.
Yeah, so I did a video last week talking about PvP and everything, and I talked about big maps, like, because there's the big scare. It's stuff we've talked about on this podcast quite a few times. It's a few weeks ago where I was talking about why big guilds will not dominate the map, and he brings it up here. And so he says, sorry, I tried to listen, and right away it's just like, okay, we're gonna be abrasive immediately. Okay.
Yeah.
But all I heard was the same arguments that always come from the PvP crowd regarding Ashes of Creation. But the corruption system, the map is so big, players will band together. It's silly. All these arguments over PvP or no PvP. The one question that no one, including Intrepid, is willing to answer is, why not just create 2 modes, standard and PvE only? It's a simple solution, very simple. Yes, the game has systems that need PvP, and any opt-in PvP, caravans, sieges, etc. should remain. Simply remove any PvP that isn't opt-in. What terrifies everyone is finding out that the PvE-centric servers would be far more popular. I have a lot to say already, but I will wait. So instead, they'll risk the entire future of the game, hoping that they can convince enough cannon fodder to play. Unfortunately, they're going to end up with another niche game like ArcAge. The problem is that a niche-sized community like that won't be able to sustain AOC long-term. I hope it works, but I could become less excited about AOC as the years go by after having been an original Kickstarter back in 2017.
The irony.
Yeah, so I want to hear from you about this. Nice. I want to hear from you on your perspective. He's saying PvE servers, but anything that's opt-in, like caravans or anything like that, still stays in. And I want to be clear, we already said it before, but somebody's going to get annoyed. my perspective, and I think Nice's perspective as well, is if you leave a public comment on a YouTube channel, it's just, if we bring it up on a live stream, we're just having a discussion. We're not belittling this person. We're not insulting this person or anything like that, unless that's the route they choose, like on other things or whatever. But yeah, this is just to have a discussion, and this is his point of view. So Nice, what's yours?
Yes. So I think, and I hate to sound like a broken record, chat, but I really, really just think this game isn't for them. I really don't. I don't think, and this is surprising coming from someone that is a Kickstarter that knew the vision of the game since day one. They're not liking the PvP aspect.
Yeah.
I don't. Why would you want a PvE and a standard? But why would you want to separate that? I get World of Warcraft does it. They, players wanted it. They asked for it. It works. Fragment, thank you for the follow. I understand all these things. I get it. That doesn't work in Ashes of Creation. You can see that on paper. You don't gotta test the alpha. You can see that on paper. It does not work. The PvP is such a core foundation of the game. That's not me just saying, oh, it's a big part of. No, it literally is a part of the game. Like so many systems don't work without PvP being a thing. The game is already balanced around risk versus reward. And I think people that go this hard, and once again, I mean this in a respectful manner, you just need to play something else, or you need to stop being a Care Bear. Like, you really need to understand that PvP is going to happen, and stop being so dramatic. Like in his condescending comment, when he said, sorry, I tried to listen, but all I heard was the same arguments, but the corruption system. What do you mean, but the corruption system? That's a big deal. People not understanding the corruption system is why we have people like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's balanced for a reason. And my goodness, and I'm gonna jump off a ledge here. Let's say the corruption system is horrible and doesn't work as planned. Let's say it's not punishing enough, right? And PKing is just so common. Even in this scenario, where the corruption system fails the game, you still can't remove PvP and have separate servers because it's so interlocked into every system. It's what balances everything of the game. It's what makes a lot of parts of the game even interesting. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, it's his comments kind of bounces because he said any opt-in PvP, caravans, sieges, castle sieges, it should remain. Well, that's not a PvE server, first of all. So it's okay, you want a PvP server, but is the issue just the corruption system? Is that the problem we're having? Is that you're worried about PK gankers? Is that the biggest concern? But then he goes on and he says, simply remove any PvP that isn't opt-in. What terrifies everyone is finding out that the PvE centric servers would be far more popular. This is not true. This is not true. And this is the thing that that's so funny, because if you go back and you look at WoW servers, traditionally, the PvP servers are more populated. You can go on Reddit from a couple years ago and you have people asking, hey, why aren't the WoW PvE servers as populated? Why aren't there as many PvE servers as the PvP servers? And you get people that respond and they go, hey, even mostly PvE centric people like to PvP every once in a while, and they want the option to PvP. They want the choice. And so PvP servers on WoW are more popular. And then you look at, and this is the other thing, you look at the hardcore boom of the last few months, 6 months or 8 months, where everybody's looking for the challenging thing to where if you die, you lose your account. People want the challenge. I don't know why this is still existing. This specific argument, I just don't see it being true at all. People risk. You look at Elden Ring. Elden Ring showed that people, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later. But Elden Ring showed that people want challenging games. You look at Baldur's Gate, same thing. And you look at this, and you see hardcore WoW coming up, and you see all these survival games gaining popularity. There is an audience for these types of games, and we already said it before, but Ashes of Creation's Kickstarter set records. So why wouldn't they continue to go off of the game that they had in mind? Because literally everybody funding their game off the Kickstarter wanted it, except for this guy who funded it anyways.
Except for this guy.
Except for this guy. So
I believe in what you're doing, but take my money. Like what? What
Yeah.
is that logic? I don't know, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I understand. Nobody wants to be griefed. Nobody wants to be PK'd over and over again. I get that perspective. We talked about that before and all that. But this PVE only server being more popular, I don't see it being true. I just
No.
I just don't think it's true.
I don't want to use the word boring, but it doesn't, like, when there's not, that's one of the hugest things that attracted me to this game I have yet to play that none of us have yet to play. like that was the coolest thing to me, because as a former Elden Ring player, um I was frustrated whenever I lost my runes. I die somewhere, and we're probably going to talk about Elden Ring. We're talking
Yeah.
about Elden Ring later. I won't get into detail with it, but that, to me, that's the cool part. Like the risk. Like I want risk in everything. I want risk just for me needing. Like I want to be like, all right, else, you hold down the freehold. I'm gonna go get that lumber you need for your recipe. You go finish gathering the ore. That's just me gonna go do chores if there's no risk. if
Yeah.
there's no if there's no risk of some guy PKing me, then I'm just doing work. I'm just doing chores. I love that even something as humbling of a task of going to go chop trees turns into this peeking over my shoulder, or will they, won't they kind of game. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a sick thrill seeker, I guess. I don't know. Let's catch up with the voices of Verra.
Sure.
Let's see. Let's see. What was the last thing? He said, honestly, I'm a console bro, but played WoW years ago. I need Ashes to be my new place of grinding. But my PC now is occupied by the wife normally, so just gonna build something mid-tier. Yeah, for sure. How you doing, Ludacris? Welcome on in. Thank you guys for the follows on Twitch as well. Yeah, consoles on MMO are just not the way indeed. See, like, and like this, like Knight Templar says, I'm not a PvPer, and so I have accepted my fate, but I feel it's worth it. And
Yeah.
like, more people need to adapt that mentality. Like, okay, I'm just gonna have to get good, or I'm just gonna have to find a group to play with until I get good at PvP, or at least just find a group so that I'm protected more if I'm not interested in PvP, just in case the off chance that that does happen. It's such a simple, like, thing to do. It's such a easy mindset or perspective to adapt, in my opinion. Pocket says it would be interesting to give a singular server for this purpose to show them how planned the game would be. Let the Care Bears roam free. Yes.
Yep.
Ludacris says, I want to ask you a question regarding node stage aesthetics. We
Oh boy.
currently know that the race that contribute the most XP to the node when it levels the new stage will look like that race's aesthetic. And then he says that I think I missed something there, but he says that they should change it to the new area that is added when a node levels up is changed to the race that gave the most XP. Oh, okay, so he's asking if it should change to the race that gave the most XP instead of the entire node, create districts almost. Okay, so to kind of summarize what he's saying here,
Oh, I
if
see.
so the races, whichever race contributed the most to that node, the node takes on that aesthetic. But what if it was like districts, so like orcs or the Renkai contributed this much, but the Valoons were like 70% of the XP, so most of the town is this area. But then you have like excuse my comparison, but Chinatown over here, that specific area for that specific thing
Yeah.
for people. I think that would be okay. I think I like it the way it is, but I wouldn't be against it. I think it'll be a pretty cool aesthetic to show, like, hey, you guys weren't the only one. Because I mean, you look at our world and it's almost, okay, that's a rough thing to say, but it's almost the same thing. Like, well, I guess architecture doesn't typically do that. What's a good comparison? Like, basically, like, I guess America, let's say it's like super multicultural, a lot of different diversities, whatever. There's different I guess aesthetics, essentially. Like, there's a lot of different people, but even then, I feel like most stuff looks the same, or one, look dominates. So I don't know. I think it's fine how it is, but I like the idea. I'd be open to it for sure. What
I
about you?
I think with this game, I think you'd have a clash with aesthetics sometimes of different types of races, and
Mm,
I would be curious as to how they would look together. And I could see like as an artist, I'd be like, man, you're really gonna have me do two different types of unique art, and then they also have to potentially work together to look good in a city. Um, I think that would be my concern because if you have like
true.
ugly cities and you're going to get potentially knocked for, wow, this city doesn't look great.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if it was, I'm guessing that it's probably this way, but each time you level up the node from 2 to 3, whatever the race is that is dominating at that point in time, it can change it. So if it's Valoon right
Yeah.
away, cool. And then a Tolnar's dominate to stage 3, then it goes to a Tolnar based node. I think that would be
Yeah.
interesting. Um, yeah, I guess I would have, what I would say is I would have to see the other art styles. Like we've only seen the one, so I would like to see the other nodes. I think it's an interesting idea for sure, because then it's kind of like combining people saying like, hey, you participated, this is actually like your contribution. So I get that perspective.
Yeah, I think we start running into a scope creep. Like they
Yeah,
think they're, I think they're still trying to do with their current system, which is a little bit more simpler in theory, with taking the race that contributed the most XP and getting that ironed out. But it's definitely worth a shout. Definitely worth a shout. Um, Prax says, as much as I am PVE focused, I definitely enjoy a dash or 8 of PvP. I played ESO a long time, just never got better. The PvP, that is. Yeah, and if me and Else figure out a way to get good on Ashes and we get good at the PvP, which I'm sure obviously we're gonna try to do that. Maybe we can hold like little boot camp sessions, and I'm sure we'll have some content to help you out
sure,
for that with that too.
absolutely.
Uh, Samson says bounty hunters sound like a fun aspect and distinctive for griefers. I think a lot of players. So disinfected for griefers. So I think a dissentive. I read that horribly wrong. Um Here's my thing. Arctic, thank you for some wow, thank you so much for becoming a channel member, buddy. Appreciate you. How many months is that? Wow, that's the year. Hold on, chat. Pause the conversation. Hello, 1 year of membership. I know you've technically been around longer than that. Thank you so much, my friend. Welcome on in. Can't wait to see you in Alpha 2. So my thing is I'm really, really, really hoping that the bounty hunter system is really, really good. Cap Duck, thanks for the follow. I'm hoping it's really good. The bounty hunter system to me needs to have meaning, and I hope it's really punishing. Like, I hope that tracking of corrupted players is like really good. I think because it acts like the police force. Yes, anyone can attack a corrupted player without penalties to them, but if the bounty hunter somehow got a buff towards corrupted players, or them being able to track the corrupted players well, I think the more, and as much as I want to PvP freely, I'm not exactly going out my way to PK, right? This is all stuff we're going to test in Alpha 2. But the reason I say that I hope the bounty hunters are strong in a very intricate and rewarding system is because of the Care Bears. I think there's going to be a lot of content creators. I think there's going to be a lot of players that complain about being PK'd in the corruption system, et cetera, et cetera. I think the more things we have to throw in their face and, oh, well, you got the corruption system. Oh, well, there's freaking 50 bounty hunters always around and this and that. The more things that you can throw out to A, deter the player, or B, convince the player that is a care bear that everything's going to be fine and okay and tuck them in at night. The more you do these things, the better it is for the game population.
Yeah, everybody likes a good guy and a bad guy, right? And let's be honest, if you're PKing a node, you're the bad guy. It's that's just the way it's going to be. And so yeah, I agree. I really want, I want all the systems to be rewarding. I want the PK system to have risk, obviously, and part of that risk, like you're saying, nice, is dealing with bounty hunters and the bounty hunters getting good rewards off of you. So if you want to take that risk and you want to kill somebody because they're farming in your area and you want to have access to that, you impose the risk of having bounty hunters come after you. And I hope it's fun. And I can't wait to see that live stream. That monthly live stream is going to be a lot of fun. So
Yes. Um I think Ashes will win a lot of people over as far as PvP goes. We will see. Yes, it all comes down to combat and balancing a corruption system for sure. Fox says too many of them think they're the main character. Indeed. Knight says, actually been thinking about that recently. In Dark Souls, everything kills me. I feel no type of way, but I get into PvP and all of a sudden losing to a player hits different. Holy crap. Arctic with the $20 donation. Nice. Doesn't have Twitch rewards here on YouTube. So you can consider this a change your mind on the topic.
Wow.
Wow. Let's go. Okay. Okay. So I got to change my mind on the next thing. What's going to be the next thing? Or should we use it on this one? I think we use it. You know what? I'm gonna switch narratives. So for you guys, that's thank you for the follow, Fangaline. So for you guys that's newer to the podcast, the stream, a couple episodes ago, we toyed around with an idea where for a certain amount of channel rewards or donation or however you guys want to do it, like it will change one you get to choose who changes their mind on the subject no matter how passionately Elsa or I are on a debate or a subject matter. We have to right then and there change our mind and play devil's advocate and debate the other side and full on role play or like
Yep.
decide against it. And I guess this one is against me. And it's always a good time. It's always a good time. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really fun that we do it here. So I'm gonna start with every comment, at least for the next couple minutes, or maybe even through the next subject. We'll see. I think it's fair that we give Arctic, especially with the $20 donation. We'll do it on a fresh topic. How about that? So we'll give you a full change your mind thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's finish reading these comments before we move on. David Sumter says, "You are so dismissive of players looking for more single player content. Your response of just go elsewhere is a little condescending. Where is it written that MMO stands for forced group content?" Hey, David, welcome on in. Thank you for commenting. So, dismissive of players looking for more single player content. When I say just go elsewhere, what I'm saying is we have those games already. We have that content already. We have that. We shouldn't be forcing ourselves to change a game in development that already has its standards and stuff laid out for you. Steven, the creator of this game, has said this stuff. This is what he wants. Like, and if you don't like that, what I'm telling you, and I've played some of these games, there's other games that you can play. And you said dismissive of players looking for more single player content. I think I did the opposite there. I think I had a whole conversation about how I enjoyed certain content in the ESO, the Maelstrom Arena, the Vatishran Hollows, all that good stuff. And I think we said that it's okay to have single player content live alongside. And I think someone else earlier brought up a great point that you can play AOC solo and contribute to the node. So in what ways are we being dismissive? I think I looked at and approached both sides of that quite fairly, but I'm interested in you elaborating on that take. But I think and you said, where is it written that MMO stands for forced group content? I don't think AOC has forced group content per se. You don't have to do the group content. What the person was advocating for was like exchanging, like basically changing how the game works. Yeah, doing the same content but scaling it down for just one player. Like you don't have to go do the group content. That would be forced group content. Just don't do it. I mean, and I'm saying this respectfully. I think it's a good debate, and I'm glad that you're on the other side. I love hearing the other side. I think the person, and I'm sorry, I'll try to get your name from earlier. Who was that said something about who was that earlier? Barry. Thank you, Barry. Barry, thank you for that comment earlier. Barry White said that earlier. So yeah, I don't think we're being too dismissive, but yeah. Go ahead, please.
So if you were talking about me and like, I don't know, because Nice and I kind of said the same thing. My perspective on it is this. I think like we brought it up a few times, but like we said, Ash of Creation has set Kickstarter records with the idea of what their game is about. What their game is about has generated a lot of interest. What they have laid out, and you guys can go check out their Kickstarter from 2017. It's 4 core pillars, one of which is PvP, risk versus reward, all these sorts of things that you've heard 1,000 times on this podcast. The biggest, after 23 episodes, I think one of the biggest issues that Nice and I have oftentimes is people want this game to fundamentally change. Like going into Call of Duty and saying, hey, this should be Madden. Going into Paleo and saying this should be full on, full contact, like always on, full risk PvP. A core aspect of a game is a core aspect. Like I said when I brought it up, I like Baldur's Gate 3. It's not my favorite type of game, and so I play it sometimes, and then I play something else. So you can like Ashes and you could be super interested in Ashes, but I think Ashes is going to have some single solo-based content, and it's going to have a lot of group-based content because they're trying to bring more group-based interactions. That's what we talk about with massively multiplayer online. They're going to try to incentivize people to play in groups. And so my perspective is if you are a solo player and you find yourself beating your head against the wall frustratingly because you want to play stuff in this game and you feel like it's group-based content, which is what it's designed for, and you're not having fun doing it, that's why I'm saying like you should play something else. If you're trying to get your fix on one specific thing, you should go play something else that gets your your fix off of. Like, I love my wife. I love, this is going to be a terrible analogy, but you're going to understand it. I love my wife, but my wife doesn't meet all of my social needs. Sometimes I need to go hang out with friends. Sometimes I need to go hang out with my family. Sometimes I got to go see my brother. Like, it doesn't mean, oh, just because you want to go see your brother means you hate your wife. No, of course not. That's not what we're trying to say.
Hangs out with me because his wife doesn't satisfy him. You heard it here.
Yeah.
She doesn't meet all his social needs, so that's where I come in.
So my perspective is like, as an introvert, I understand being overwhelmed by a large group player based dynamic and seemingly potentially having it all the time. I understand that, and that is what I'm going to do. Like, if all of a sudden I don't want to play group-based stuff, I'm going to find something else to satisfy my, just shut off the world and play something solo. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, obviously there's bias, right? But I thought we laid that out. I talked about that solo content should live alongside that, and I literally said the most. I mean, obviously I'm a PvP enjoyer, right? But my most fun thing in the MMO that I played the most in my life, The Elder Scrolls Online, my most fun thing, ironically, was the solo content. That was my favorite thing about that game, was the Vadishran Hollows and the Maelstrom Arena. I loved it. Yep. It doesn't mean that the solo content can't exist. We're not saying that. I want there to be there's not else. Put it this way, chat. Else is not always going to be online when I'm online. Yep. I want to be able to accomplish something solo. Do I think that the game should change for that? No. Do I think that since Else can't do all this dungeon with me, that would normally require, me, him, and 2 other people, 4 people, it should like scale down to just, my friends not being able to be online and scale down to just me? No, I don't think that's how the game should work. I think that's when that mechanic comes in where they have the town board system where I like, hey, I need some people to help here. I'll give you 10 gold for helping me out, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, I got to interact with other people. That's what they're going for because MMOs have gotten away from this. And I think we need to acknowledge it. And I think it's a fair argument or a fair response to say, we can play other games if we feel Ashes of Creation does not fulfill that need. And that is okay. It is okay. It's not being mean, saying, get away. Well, this ain't for you. Like, it's okay. There's games that you can play that cater to that better. And who's to say, and once again, just to kind of sound like a broken record again, Ashes of Creation may be fine for the solo player. You never know. It really could be.
We don't know yet.
If you're just interested in craft and artisan, the economy, leveling up your religion skill line, doing all this extra stuff, contributing to your node, warding off corruption, defending your node from a siege, you can do all of that solo. And it's okay. But to expect the game to conform to your reality, that there's a freaking dragon that usually requires 20 of us to kill, and you think because you're the only one in the area and your friends are offline that it should scale down to just you, the solo player? No. I'm sorry, no. No. Just no. That's where I draw the line. That's what I said.
Yep.
But yes, solo content should be definitely a thing.
All right.
Oh yeah. So where were we? That was one comment. Let's catch up. Hey, Nice and Else, where are you guys located coast-wise? Out of all the content creator, I want to join you guys for your pirate crew. That's awesome. Thank you, dude. We're both central, actually.
Yep.
We're both central. Nodes take the look of one race. Nodes are racist. Indeed. Crunch, how you doing, buddy? Welcome on in. Classes like High Sword will be good solo and play very well with others, so maybe I want both. I think the cleric as a secondary archetype, I think the cleric augments being able to, like, in theory, self-heal you via your attacks is going to be super solo friendly. I could see like a fighter cleric is that what a High Sword is? I don't remember, but fighter cleric or ranger cleric, like, dude, if I could S key and hit you with ranged abilities and they heal me, goodbye. I will never need to call else for nothing. Like, I got this. Solo.
Time to go be solo.
Goobak, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for following on Twitch. Can you tell from the gameplay, is there one or two weapons? I think you have one ranged weapon, one melee weapon, like, and you determine what you want your autos to be. Don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it. But I think there might be two weapons. That's something I haven't actually looked at in a while.
I think there's going to be two weapons. I for the same reason, I don't know why I think that, but I think there will be. So
yeah, I know there's two weapons, but I forgot if there's like a bar swap in a way that you do it. So from what I recall, is like, so say you have a ranger, but for some reason, you don't want to use a bow, or basically to do some attacks, you need that weapon, right? Like in the ranger's toolkit, if you need to do the arrow barrage or whatever, you're gonna need a bow. You can actually, you need to have a bow in your inventory. Your character will whip out the bow to do that. And also, there's something I read on a wiki. Chat, you guys can correct me or clarify for me if you don't mind. But when it comes to like your auto attacks, your light attacks, whatever you want to call them, like you can set it to what you want your light attacks to be, whether you want that to be with your ranged weapon or you want that to be with your melee weapon. And then so like you can be light attacking with your bow in between skills, and then it'll automatically cast with that weapon, if that makes sense. So I don't remember per se, so don't quote me on it, about a 2-bar thing. I don't think there's weapon bars. So it'll automatically use the weapon for that situation. But yeah, that one I would need more, I would need to play for. So let me play, Steven. Let me play. Okay, I'm playing. All right.
see what you did there.
Ashes of Relation said, it's not that they dismiss people wanting single player content. It's that these Redditors want to turn the multiplayer aspects of the game into single player content. Single players have ruined. Thank you, Relation. Very well said. Very well said. He said, it's not that they want to dismiss people wanting single player content. It's that the Redditors want to turn multiplayer aspects of the game into single player content. Single players have ruined MMOs. Very well said. Wholeheartedly agree. Thank you for that.
I think this Ashes of Relation guy is highly educated. I don't know what you think,
Yes.
Nice, but it just comes off that way.
Yeah. I think this Dr. Ashes of Relation may have gotten his GED at some point. Yeah.
At least a GED.
At least, right? Surely.
I got one here from Avenging Angels. He says, if you want to do solo play, there's always options. Farm for a guild, flip items and traders, make solo YouTube builds for that specific content. The list goes on. Make a guild for solo players who want to be a part of something that only involves solo content. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like this is pre-alpha 2. And so I don't know how solo friendly this will be. And I think if there's nothing available, I think Nice and I would, I know I've heard Steven say we want to make solo content. And so some solo content. So I know I've heard it. I don't remember where, but I know it's going to exist. Yeah. How fulfilling that is for players, I don't know what that will be. So
yeah, and I don't mind trying to find a build, because like I said, chat, there's gonna be times where my friends aren't on too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to solo some things. I just don't think I should be able to solo the damn end game trial just because my friends aren't online. But you're gonna need to sustain. That's something Elsa and I as PvPers. I don't care if I got a friend that's a cleric healer and he's the best healer on the server. I want to be able to sustain myself. I want to know how to heal myself. I want some form of self healing. I
Yep.
want to know how to survive, dodge, block at the right time. I want to know when to use my potions. I want to be self sufficient. That's how you win fights that's how you win against the odds. That's how you do these things. There's going to be some bosses that I'm going to want to be able to solo. I want my character to be strong. I don't want to have to need someone for everything. But should I need someone for most things or the difficult content? Yes. And the game should not cater because no one wanted to help me. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of solo content in Ashes of Creation, but there's a difference between wanting solo content and wanting the game to conform to your single player ideologies. But yeah. Um if you start an AOC boot camp, I want in. Your Titan build was the first build in ESO I ever got comfortable wins with in PvP. Thank you so much, Knight Templar. I appreciate that. I love that build. That was a classic. Tatama, welcome on in. Hello, a bit late though. My question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on Throne and Liberty compared to Ashes of Creation? Wow. Nolly, thank you for subscribing. That's a big one. I tell you what, that's a big one. Let's throw that in the question lineup, else. We will actually be talking. I don't know if it was it already on our agenda?
Throne and Liberty wasn't. It was the other ones. So
Gotcha. I don't mind discussing that here. Let me get back to that comment, Totamo, and because I know we're really behind on chat. You guys talk too much. My goodness. PK will be fine. Sawman, welcome on in there. Sorry I'm getting to you so late, buddy. Luda, they need PvE servers. Think of the griefing. Just go play a random RPG. And this next topic, we still got to do the change my mind thing. Yeah, Fangaline has it right. Go play a random RPG. I'm sick of most MMOs being brain dead, boring quests. Pretend that you're an MMO in a dungeon at the end of the game. Yeah. If they don't, Arctic says, if they don't have enough solo content, what will they do if the game does not perform and they don't have that many people who want to play to play it? If the if they don't have enough solo content, what will they do if the game does not Oh, so you're saying if there's not like enough population. I don't think games should build around those kind of I'll say negative what ifs or like the worst case scenarios. You shouldn't design the game around it failing, if that makes sense. You shouldn't put in these things. So like, all right, if there's only 300 concurrent players one day, I want people to still be able to do this. I think once you start doing that, once you start building for failure, now it's okay to have what do you call it, contingency plans, of course, but or systems in place that'll help alleviate this. But I don't think you want to design a game to account for low population. Fox said, I
yeah.
think you should argue why pay to win is good for the game. Rage, how you doing? Oh my gosh, chat is going crazy. When world gonna see the game? No. He said I said hello 2 hours ago, Sawman. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sawman doesn't exist. Don't you guys ignore him. He only has like 24K subs. What does he know?
Yeah.
That's an inside joke for you guys that don't understand. All right, so I like the Throne and Liberty tangent there. And I'm gonna keep this short so we can move forward and so that I don't fall half an hour behind chat again. Because I wanna argue, I wanna play devil's advocate, but I want it to be a good one. I want it to be a spicy one. So to briefly touch on this, I played Throne and Liberty, and they've made some improvements, and so I'd like to not really backtrack. So when we've been talking about Throne and Liberty, it's been like, it's been a disappointment. They actually did the one point of feedback that I had, which was to add the hybrid camera. So you guys know we talk about the hybrid camera, the action targeting, or whatever that is present in Guild Wars 2. That's also present in Ashes of Creation. I don't care about tab target. I don't like click to drag my camera, which is really the only efficient way to do tab target, right? I want a cursor. I want action mode. I want to be able to aim. I want to be able to rotate my camera by moving my mouse. And Throne and Liberty did add that. Now, this is not as efficient as someone that's a tab target Tony that's been doing this since World of Warcraft. They're going to be better than you. It's a more efficient aim system, but it feels better. It feels more rewarding the action combat mode, that is. So I'm glad that Throne of Liberty added that. And since they added that, I would actually probably give it a try. Do I think it's the next MMO? No. But do I think it's a good waiting room that's going to hold you off? And I mean, we all love that new MMO smell, right? Like, I think it's going to be something worth buying. I'm monitoring the Korean release. I watch the Throne of Liberty streams a lot while I'm at work. Don't tell my employer. I always just have it on there. I watched some open world PvP today, how they do everything, and it doesn't look like my cup of tea. It doesn't look like my cup of tea, but I am definitely gonna try it just because it's a new experience. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be the next thing. And I mean, the Twitch numbers are surprisingly low for it to be a new MMO that's taking this long. And I know it's only the Korean and Western release, but you have a lot of English speaking uh Twitch creators that's playing the game and just looking on YouTube and everything like that, just gauging interest around it. I don't know. It might be better than when Lost Ark released in the East or whatever, but I don't know. It just yeah. Thank you for stopping in, Raka. Doing pretty good. Hope you are as well. But yeah, that's my take on Throne of Liberty.
Yeah, I've watched 15 minutes. I don't have like a solid take on it, so I think I'm just gonna skip this. I am interested in looking more. I know I have time. I've seen I haven't seen enough, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's way on my back burner at the moment, but I'll check it out to see if I like it when it goes live in the US. So
all right. So, what is our next topic of discussion on the agenda?
So, the next one, Steven, the last couple of weeks has been dropping bombs. And so he's been talking about different things. And so a few days ago, he was talking about, we'll talk about this in a minute. And somebody made a comment and they're like, hey, Baldur's Gate just won Game of the Year. Hopefully in a few years, you'll be the one accepting the award, Steven. And he said something along the lines of like, from my eyes to God's ears or something like that. I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, yeah, I hope that happens too. And I thought it would be fun because Baldur's Gate, as I just said, it just won 2023 Game of the Year. I've played Baldur's Gate 3. Nice. You've played Elden Ring, which was the 2022 Game of the Year. And I thought it would be fun for us to talk about these awesome games that have been voted by the community as the best game of the year, what they did well, what they did really well, what you really liked, and maybe something that stood out from that game that other games have not had. And and then once we do that, we could talk about potentially, do we see some of those same things in Ashes of Creation?
Yes. So I loved me some Elden Ring. I don't know how many of you guys in chat followed my channel from my Elden Ring content, but that was by far my highest viewed content. I think it was for a lot of people when that game released because it was so big. And I loved that game. Like, I love the invading, I love the PvP, but I love the PvE, like the challenge. What I think made that game special was two things for me. Well, let's say three things. One, the difficulty. People love a challenge. We've had so much hand holding in the gaming industry because, the game developers think you just want that dopamine hit. You want to succeed. You want to be like, yeah, I'm a badass. I'm the hero. I'm the main character. Look what I did. Um, and I think Elden Ring, from software that is, proved them wrong with that. Players really want a challenge these days. Is it for everyone? Can everyone beat it? No, no. So you got to be careful and walk that line. But what I didn't like about Elden Ring was, which is probably my second thing, is that it didn't conform. There was no easy mode. It did not conform. It's like, hey, this is just how difficult the game is. You're gonna have to get used to it. So, yeah. I forgot what the third thing was already, but it was really the that's what it was. Risk versus reward, or high risk, high reward, I should say, is the way to go about it. And Elden Ring, for you guys that haven't played a From Soft title, they typically have this formula where you have these runes. Think of this as your currency. You use this currency to upgrade things, maybe buy things, etc., etc. when you die in the world, no matter where that is or what situation it is, when you die in the world, you lose all of it. It all drops. And you have to go back and retrieve them wherever you died, which is a challenge because depending on how far into a dungeon you was, having to go through all that content again, you got to make sure you don't die before you get back there, which is it's a tough task sometimes. And Elden Ring has a certain mechanic, and I'll try not to go. I'm getting Elden Ring geeky here, and I apologize, but Elden Ring has this mechanic called fog walls. Once you enter a boss area, you cannot leave. You're stuck in there until you beat that boss. If you die in this fog wall, guess where your runes died? In that fog wall. So you're gonna have to keep going back into that boss and picking up your runes, and hopefully you eventually beat that boss, and hopefully they don't kill you before you even get to pick up the runes. So you're gonna have to overcome that challenge, and I love that high risk mindset. And I think that's what Ashes is carrying on. And I'll let you speak on Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I caught on to Baldur's Gate way later on, but we've talked about it before. They had 3 years of open development where people were testing. They were testing the alpha of the game. They were testing the beta of the game. They were working out bugs. They were working out kinks. And I can't remember the exact number anymore, but there is a ridiculous amount of cinematic hours in Baldur's Gate 3. There's enough where there are more cinematic hours in Baldur's Gate 3 than the entire Game of Thrones series from season 1 to the end. There's more hours of cinematics in this than that. And they did a lot of top tier acting. You guys saw that if you guys watched the Game of the Year awards. Some of the actors won specifically like best actor and everything like that. Everything was just so well done. The storyline is very well interwoven. The world is great. The puzzles are fun and challenging. The boss fights are very engaging and very challenging because you don't really I kind of went into it blind, and all of it, and there's funny mixed in. There's just so many different aspects, and they're like, yeah, this is what we are. And we've talked about it before, but they hit the entire gaming community by storm, because even before the game went live, we all remember other gaming companies were on Twitter commenting about how, hey, this shouldn't be the standard for video games. This can't be the standard for video games. And it's, hey, they're a small company. Why can't bigger companies do something similar? Why can't they be the standard? And it's because, like we talked about before with other games, with bigger companies, I think you have this diverging thing of some developers wanting to make a good game, and then you have other people that just want to get money, and those things don't always coincide. And Baldur's Gate aligned perfectly with, hey, we're going to make a great freaking game. We're not going to do any cosmetics. We're not going to do any of this stuff. You buy the game, you get everything available in the game. And they got, I think they either set the record or were top 10 in most streamed on Steam, most players playing this game in that genre, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it goes to show you that you can have a unique game as long as it's unique, interesting, exciting. You don't have to do all these other, pay to win, pay for convenience, cosmetics, these sorts of things. And so, Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate are two completely different games, but where I think that they are similar is they are unabashedly themselves. They are what they are. Yes. And I think that is something to look forward to. And so when I see it, and when, we're a long ways away. We're a long ways away from Ashes of Creation potentially being nominated or anything like that from Game of the Year. What do I see? Well, I see a gaming company that's developing openly. Check one. I see a gaming company that's responding to criticism, responding to feedback. They have office hours, where they listen to the community and they listen to how things are going. They're building out in the open. They're doing these sorts of things. And on top of that, they're also just saying, hey, we're not going to have pay to win. We're not going to have any of this. We have our monthly subscription. We think we're going to keep players this way. And so I have no idea what the game is going to be, but if you look at the bare bones structure, you see the same structure in Ashes that you probably would have seen in Baldur's Gate 2 to 3 years ago. And a lot can change from now till then, but I think you see a lot of similar things. That's my point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, and Baldur's Gate 3 just coming out of nowhere to shake things up, like from early access to what it became is just crazy. And with us having this alpha 2, I know we spoke about it before, but with us having this open development leading into a alpha, leading to a beta, then a beta 2, like we're gonna be able to see that progress. And then I think that's what's gonna happen with Ashes is we're gonna release and then boom, everyone's gonna know our name.
Yep.
Ugh, I'm starting to say our. That's how you know I'm just like in a cult. I'm just in a cult. I'm in an AOC cult.
And so this kind of ties into the other thing that happened this week, which I wasn't going to talk about. It wasn't even on this, but you see the exact opposite happening with a game like The Day Before, where they were auditioned as an MMORPG. It was supposed to be a survival based game, MMORPG, and then what, 3 or 4 days later they shut down their.
Else, I'm so sorry. I'm got to cut you off because once we start talking about The Day Before, we're probably not gonna be able to stop.
Okay.
I want to get this AOC thing out the way, which was Steven's announcement, and then I got the image pulled up, and I'll share it with chat here. But let me catch up with chat, do that, and then let's do The Day Before because I feel a rant coming on both of our ends because that's a huge topic that I can't wait for us to jump into. Kawada in chat says, if you ever feel useless, remember Ashes has 16 weapons, 19 if you count the 1/2-handed ones, and among those are pole arms and lances, which we never seen till now. We kind of only saw maces, hammers, wands, staves. What weapons would you like to see? What's missing from that list that you would want to see? And if you say a musket or shotgun, I'm going to be really upset. Planetdorf says, I love that we can have better discussions about difficulty thanks to the Souls and Elden Ring franchise. Help give some ammo to designers who want games to be a challenge. Well said.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well said.
Agreed. Crunch says, in reference to the Elden Ring stuff, nah, you just spend all your runes before you attempt the boss fight. Facts. BG3 is unreal. Yes, indeed. Wildfire, welcome on in. Thank you for being here, by the way. Till 8-2, new computer, nothing to play. Yeah. Templar says these larger studios have always been able to make better games. They just choose not to, so they can slowly build them up to milk the consumers on gradual improvements. Ugh, yes, sad but true. Games as a service has kind of gone that route. Oh, you played Baldur's Gate 2? See, I'd never even heard of these games until this one. It's crazy. When I was 18, I remember playing Baldur's Gate 2, being like, this is wild. Fast forward to now and seeing it come out and truly be amazing. The cream rises to the top. Always and believe in Ashes. Lethal Company, I want to get into that. I want to do maybe stream with Sawman. We got to find a game to do our drunk stream with, but I've been seeing a lot of people play that game. Scam game, facts. Stephen the Messiah is a core belief of the cult, so we are deep in this. Welcome, nice. You're finally inhaling the good copium. The Day Before, yeah. And Kawada says 2-handed spears, which don't exist in Ashes, only one-handed, and they probably gonna do the poke, which I hate games. Hate spears, making them cool. Yeah. Akira, thank you so much for being here. Welcome on in. Okay. So we are going to discuss an announcement that came from Steven. Forgot when this was, on the 9th.
Yep.
And then we are going to talk about the huge news that is The Day Before's launch and closure. Spoiler alert. So I got this image pulled up. Let me make sure chat you guys can see it. There it is.
Sure.
If you were not aware. So if you were not aware, Steven made this announcement in Discord. And I want to give my feedback and my take. And you guys may want to stay tuned because I'm going to play devil's advocate with this Day Before argument, and maybe afterwards give my real take. But I think Else will share a lot of my beliefs, so it'll be kind of easy. So I think that's going to be really fun. I think that's going to be the finale there. And that was donated via Arctic for the Change My Mind donation. But first, let's talk about this news. If you guys did not see, Steven said Alpha 2 may even start with Summoner. We shall see. So this is big because we were told that the Summoner was going to be the one archetype not ready for Alpha 2. So this would change a lot. This would, I mean, I think that would be big. And for him to say that means they made some huge progress. Now, chat, do you think the Summoner will be ready for Alpha 2? I mean, I know we don't have a date yet, but do you What do you think? HD, you say you want gauntlets as a weapon. Me personally, I think Steven walked by one of the combat devs' desk and saw a lot of progress, almost a finished product. He's like, "Oh yeah, that'll be ready," and so he just got excited. I don't know if it'll be ready, or I guess what I'm rather saying is I'm not trying to get my hopes up because I am very interested in what they do with the summoner and how they approach the class. And that's all coming from the December showcase from last year where they talked about the summoner and how they want to do things different. So yeah, I'm trying not to get too hyped. So I'm gonna say it doesn't happen, but maybe it happens very early off of it. Maybe it's not gonna be as long of a wait as they thought as before.
My reaction when I saw this was that we had that long discussion last podcast about how there's so many things they're working on in the background. And you know, people are like, hey, why don't we have this? Why don't we have this? And when you see, if you watch months upon months and hours upon hours of live streams like we have, you see things tying together in the background where they're incorporating things like the corruption system and stuff like this. And so to see them say, yeah, it may even start with the summoner, I was like, yep, makes sense. Like I don't know, they didn't say it will or anything like that, but yeah, like there's a lot of stuff they're working on in the background that we have no idea about, and they're trying to keep it hush hush for us, and that's pretty exciting. So
yeah, like and that's what I think we should take away from this chat is that even if it's not actually even if it's not actually there at, you know, come alpha 2 we realize, oh, it didn't start with summoner, we got to wait 2 months or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The fact that he's saying that, like El said, the fact that they're making progress in the background, like this is something they're not just like, all right, do the bar, then do this. Like the fact that he even said this, you know, what it actually, I would say almost, kind of as an aside, it makes me think that that quarter announcement is going to be like Q2 or Q1. Because if he's saying summoner's ready, if he's got like this big of a outlook, this big of a like, oh, this might be ready.
Yeah.
That's got to mean that we're looking at Q2 or quarter. I don't think Q1, but it's got to be like pretty soon.
That's what I thought. Well, my tinfoil hat came out at this point too. So
yeah, because like if it was Q4, he's not sitting here in December of 2023 saying, "Oh, you guys are doing really good over there. I think that'll be ready by November." Like that doesn't even make sense, right? Like that's gotta mean I don't think Q4 is even on the books at this point. Because there's no way someone's sitting there like, oh, that'll be ready in a year. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for someone to look at I don't care what you do in life, any kind of project, any kind of goal, anything you're constructing. You don't look at a project like, oh, a year from now, you guys, I think it'll be ready.
So after 12 more months of production, we got it.
I could see that done in 12 months. Yeah. So I think we're fine, Chad. I think we're looking at Q3 or earlier. Or definitely Q3 or earlier. I think even saying Q3 sounds far-fetched for him to think something's close. But I mean, that's not ruled out, you know?
I agree. I agree. That what you're just saying is exactly what I was picking up when he said this. Because like, and this is not all just hopium, guys. I'm just gonna confirm it with a few things. But back in July when they did the cleric showcase, when they did the full, well, not July, was it August? It was August. I'm sorry guys, don't beat me. But they talked about they did the cleric live stream and everything, and people were asking Steven question in Discord, and they're like, oh, so why the cleric? And he's like, well, the cleric's a little bit farther along than the ranger, the fight, like a few other ones. And he basically said that there's 4 archetypes that are all very close. They just need different visual effects and UI stuff to be incorporated, and then they'd be ready as well. And so back in August, when they did the cleric live stream, they were basically very close to having 3 to 4 more archetypes ready. And so it's not surprising that now we're 3 months later into December, they're probably looking at the same thing like, hey, yeah, this is probably pretty close. And yeah, they get reconfirms Q2. I'm still standing pat on Q2, but yeah, maybe Q1, maybe later Q1. I don't know, man.
Oh, don't do that to me. Don't even have me considering that. If it was Q1, I want it to be a surprise. So I think that's what I'm doing. I'm subverting expectations. So I'm like, in my mind, it's Q2. And if they were, bro, if they said Q1, I don't know, man. That'd be, yeah. Let's see, I'm already smiling because of it. And this is what I didn't want to do.
I'm sorry.
In my mind, that's not an option. I'm sorry. You know, I'm in my bubble, my anti-disappointment bubble, and I'm going to stay there. That's fair. So let's talk about Throne. No, what was the topic we were talking
The
about
day
next?
before.
The day before. Here, give me 1 second, chat. My dog is like growling at
Sure.
me to let her outside. It'll be like 20 seconds.
Yep. So I'm going to be doing while he's gone, but I plan on doing a video talking about this because this entire thing just reads terribly. I'm gonna pull it up on my end. I'll wait for him before I read anything. But what was it? It was official statement as of yesterday. So yesterday, the day before, made a big announcement, and yeah, it's a doozy. It's a doozy. So
Oh yeah. I'm gonna pull up. Should I pull up their tweet?
yeah, I just pulled up their official release or whatever. But yeah, it's on their tweet. I can send it to you if you want.
Yeah, send it. Got it. All right.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this. So
Oh my gosh, that is such a white screen. It is brightening up
I
my
know,
face.
I'm sorry.
All right.
This is the worst thing they did to us was putting this in light mode. Like just terrible.
Yeah. Fox said Steven's gonna get them a. He promised a pizza party if they get Summoner ready.
So yeah, the creators of Day Before, fantastic. They announced this. That what did the game come out? 3 days ago, 4 days ago? It was something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was like Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday it says, today we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the Day Before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. Red flag. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man hours into development of the Day Before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the Day Before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. At the moment, the future of the Day Before and Prop Night is unknown, but servers will remain operational. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years. So they then highlight, we don't have to read that, but yeah, so they announce a game. They announce a game as basically a survival type MMORPG. It comes out. It is not an MMORPG at all. And then a couple days later, they decide to shut down the studio. And so to me, this just screams like every major crypto scam of 2020 and 2021, where they announce something big and grandiose and they talk about how awesome it's going to be and how great it's going to be, and then they under deliver, and then somehow all of a sudden 4 days into the game's development they now lack the funds in order to continue to do that. Are you serious? Like, this is just, I don't know how you look at this, and you can't look at it as like a pump and dump situation, and it's a shitty thing to say, but you see it all the time. You see it all the time with some games in some genres where they just hype something up, they show a few cinematics, and people are so interested in a new great game, they're willing to give it a try. They're willing to try stuff out. You have content creators that are like, hey, if this game sucks, that's fine. I got content. Like I'm going to cover it anyways. But then you have your regular everyday player that wants to play a good game, and I've already seen it, but people are going to have a very hard time getting refunds back because they said we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. So yeah, like, hey, thanks for your money 4 days ago. We're out of here.
Yeah.
So
we're out of money. Thanks for your money.
Yeah. Thanks for your money. We're out of here. So.
All right, here. 1 second. Let me put on my crazy cap.
Okay. Thank you for the tier 1, by the way, Avenging. Thank you.
All right. Crazy cap is on. Arctic made me do this as a pre-disclaimer.
Yeah, we are now doing the change my mind aspect. So Nice has now been paid to disagree with me, just so we understand what's happening.
That's how easy I can be bought, chat. All right. I need to type up a disclaimer on screen so that no one clips me out of context. All right, so here we go. So else, are you trying to say that the day before was a scam?
Yes.
Why do you think it's a scam? And why is everyone saying that we just use Unreal Engine 5 assets? Like we worked on those assets. We did not just buy anything off the marketplace. I don't care what proof you have. I personally think that you know what it is. It's these Baldur's Gate 3 guys, these game of the years. They want everything to be Baldur's Gate 3. Everything can't be Baldur's Gate 3. It just can't happen. You guys want perfection, and we can't do that. You can't have Baldur's Gate 3. Just give us some time. The real reason that we failed is because all of you gave up on us. You got refunds too long. Too quick, and you should have gave us a chance. Just sort of gave us a chance, and you didn't. And you know what? I heard your little slick comment about it not being an MMO. Define MMO for me. Go ahead.
It is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
I'm sorry. Was our city not huge? Was it not massive, as one would say?
I suppose.
Was there not other players? I mean, it took you like 10 minutes to find them, and there was probably only like 4 people in the whole map, but that's multiplayer, is it not? Is that not the second M in your equation?
It very well could be. You're absolutely right there.
Okay, and I mean, yes, it took our servers a while to come online, and people had issues connecting, but was it not online? Is that not the O in your precious MMO?
It is. You're absolutely right.
And thus I have him, ladies and gentlemen. And thus I have him. I am right. He is wrong. It was an MMO. He just wants us to be Baldur's Gate 3. It was a really good game. And okay, yes, we took a lot of people's money, but I mean, we got to close down. We got to close down. I mean, making video games is hard. Making video games is hard.
I have one question.
Fine.
Okay. So when you released your game 4 days ago, did you had to have known then that you were going under, correct? You had to have known that you didn't have the funds to continue this. So you had to have known that you were no longer solvent potentially. And so either you were insolvent and you released a game to work off some of that debt, or the way worse scenario is you pump and dumped a game and didn't want to work on it anymore because you have money and then you don't have to refund anybody. So,
well,
am I wrong?
I mean, I don't see why that's relevant personally. I mean, I think we promised you guys a game, whether or not we knew it was going to be successful. We promised a game. We put our Envious Gaming. Thank you for the follow. Finally, one of my fellow the day before enjoyers are here.
I think you got to question any follows at this point on your channel. I'm just saying.
The day before, we promised a game and we gave you guys a game. We couldn't go back on our promise. I think, I mean, what were we going to do? Delay it for the 5th time? We've delayed it enough. The scam wasn't ready. I mean, the game wasn't ready by then, so we couldn't just not release it. I mean, come on.
You got me there. You got me in all these spots.
The day before was a massive success. And I mean, we're going to keep the game online for a while. I mean, did anybody even thank us for keeping the servers online? You know, we really don't get enough praise.
The day before was a massive success. Think about we had a really successful release. And I see your little snarky comment there, Mr. Sawman UK. The game was on early access on Steam, which means everyone can refund it. That's why we went under. All of you guys keep refunding our game. How are we supposed to make a profit? How are we supposed to make a real game? I mean, how are we supposed to finish our content with you guys constantly refunding? We've had to close the studio. I'm sorry. And I think I win the argument. I gave you guys an MMO. Okay, maybe it's not like what we promised. Maybe it's a Tarkov style game, but I think I've made my point that this was wildly successful. So
Yeah.
you take that. You better hope your precious little Ashes of Creation releases with even an ounce of visual amazingness and core super amazing gameplay that the day before did.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. All right, hold on.
I got one from Galwood. It was early access. They had no idea it wouldn't succeed and they would close the studio 2 business days later. Exactly. Exactly. I think the funniest thing, it's been posted multiple times, but IGN gave it a 1 out of 10, which is just incredibly impressive. Like, just so impressively bad. Well done, by the way, Nice. Everybody should give a round of applause to Nice. That I don't know how you did that voice for that long. I couldn't do it, but but yeah, I don't know, man. It's so disappointing because you have all these people, and it's the same thing we talked about in this MMO space. Like, everybody's willing to throw $40 at a new experience just trying to find that game, and there's so many red flags with games like this. And I'm not just, I don't want to just shit on the day before or anything like that, but
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. But what I
think we need to.
Yeah, and maybe it's a warning sign for everybody else that comes out with a shit game like this, is when you see a game that doesn't post gameplay, when they do not post gameplay and they post cinematics and they announce all these big buzzwords that are popular at the time. So you say MMORPG, survival, Unreal Engine 5, and they have cinematics and you don't see gameplay, that should be an automatic red flag in your head. Okay. Yep. That's interesting. You have my attention. I will check it out, but I will watch it, but I'm not going to pay for it, because the more these types of things succeed where they can get away with this stuff, the more you're going to see quote unquote companies doing it.
Yeah. I completely agree. If I can give my real take on it. Oh, by the way, I have a actual the day before enthusiast in chat. He goes by Cap'n Crunchy T on Twitch. He says it didn't deserve a 1 out of 10. It was maybe a 4 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, Crunch.
Oh yeah, you are. Your wife loves you, Crunch, because you are obviously very easy to please. Oh my. 4 out of 10. Like, if that's not a 1 out of, I need to see what's a 1 out of 10. I need to see. Like, if that's not a if that disappointment wasn't a 0 out of 10. Solomon said, I've seen worse scams, to be honest. I think they just got in over their head. Yeah. I just think it's just, as far as my real take goes, it was definitely a scam. And I love looking back at their little snarky tweet. I think 7 days before release, when they made the announcement, like, oh, by the way, we're releasing here. And it was like, I want to thank everyone that believed in us, to everyone that called us a scam, all the doubters, and blah blah blah. And you're gonna get to see this amazing game, all this extra stuff. And yeah, I think at some point they knew that, like you said, they were in over their head, and then they were like, you know what, this ain't what we promised, or this just ain't gonna work. Just post, just try to make some of our money back, and maybe not everyone refunds.
Yep.
I just think that's what their mindset was. And I hope, like El said, because we've talked about it here on the channel a lot, don't fall in love with game trailers. Fall in love with gameplay. Do not get fooled. We've had this conversation before in reference to Throne and Liberty, how the trailers looked freaking amazing, and then you saw their first beta look like crap. Horrible combat. So just keep in mind that anyone can make a good cinematic trailer. Wait to see gameplay. Talk to the developers or listen to the developers. Do they have an open development? Everyone doesn't need to be as open as Ashes of Creation,
Correct.
but you should look for some sort of transparency is I think the lesson here. And also there was a lot of red flags, like everybody in chat was saying. There were so many red flags, like how they literally stole the trailers from Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, like almost shot for shot, frame for frame. There were so many red flags.
Yep.
It was so bad.
And to react to what Sawman said, like the scams, it's like white to black, right? There's bright white, there's dark black, and there's a bunch of gray in between. I don't see how you look at this game and you don't think, wow, they were literally trying to either keep a profit or they were trying to salvage something. Like, how do you release a game and then 3 or 4 days later shut down completely? The only other thing that I can think of that did stuff like this was pump and dump crypto NFT scams. Like they're like, hey, we got this. Well, we got Crypto Zoo. I'm sure everybody's heard about Crypto Zoo. We got all this great thing. You're going to interact with your NFTs. You're going to be able to do this, this, and this. And people to this day still have not been reimbursed for that entire situation. And like Nice was saying here with the Call of Duty cinematics and all these sorts of things, it's just, I don't think they got in over their head. I think you look at all this stuff and you see red flag, red flag, red flag. I think it's pretty clear to see that they had an intent, and the intent was to make money and then close down to not answer any other questions.
Yeah.
That's my point of view, and I could be wrong.
Our number one the day before fan Crunch says, for being an extraction shooter, it had potential to be a good extraction shooter. The description MMO survival was lost in translation, I think. I like Crunch. He always sees the positivity in things.
Yeah.
Sawman says what they did was they tried to hype the game up too much, got caught in the sales of some big content creators, then shat the bed. If they had done a closed alpha, they could have been okay. Yeah, they definitely was rushing through this. I think at some point they knew there was no return. I don't think the shutting down after 4 days was unheard of just happened because of negative reviews. I think they seen this coming. I think they knew the product that they released. I think there's no doubt.
Yep.
Like maybe some things, maybe I'll meet you halfway. Maybe they didn't know as soon as people loaded the game that they were going to fall through the map. They didn't know, maybe there's some bugs that were legitimate, early access bugs. But the product that they presented and compared to what they promised, they know that was a scam. They know that was a ripoff. They know that was misleading. They know that's not what they promised. Did you see I watched the gameplay for the day before, their first gameplay trailer. I'm going to emphasize this. Their gameplay, like not cinematic, their gameplay trailer in Unreal Engine 5 with the sexy graphics and it was just phenomenal looking, which is why it became the most not pre-ordered but most wish listed item on Steam in history. The gameplay that did that for it, and it was nothing like what was delivered. There's no way around it.
Yep. Yeah, I think I think at some point the obfuscation and the misdirection is the intent. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not inside the company or anything like that. But at some point when you mislead and you mislead and you mislead and you mislead and you go live with a product that looked the way it did, and you're a developer that should know better, and you shut down 4 days later, I think you know what your intent was. I think you know what it was. And so I don't think they're idiots. I don't think they were in over their head. That's my perspective. I think they know exactly what they did, and they should be getting all the shit for it. But we're inclined to agree to disagree, but that's my perspective. So
I think even they know what they did. I don't know if they've came out outright and said it, but yeah. Sawman says the trailers were made in such a way to get big investments, not from the public, but from other studios. It was a scam in terms of taking money from customers. Okay, so let's tie this back into Ashes. The topic, I've seen one person who's always maniacal about Ashes. I've seen them tweet something like, I'm just waiting for the same story with Ashes of Creation. I've seen something like that. Someone posted in the AOC Discord, this guy that's always like calling Ashes a scam and, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, what is the potential of that being a thing with Ashes? Could this happen with Ashes? And what kind of precedent does it set for, I guess, just studios all over?
I Go ahead.
Oh, answer.
Sorry, I thought you were asking me. My bad. I like I said, I think there is a range. I think that anytime you invest in a Kickstarter or you invest in a pre-alpha 2 or something, there's always inherited risks. You have to know that your investment can go to zero. You have to acknowledge that no matter what you think about somebody, no matter how right you think you are about somebody or a company, that it could go wrong, because there are people on the other end. People are inclined to act irrationally over something big that happens in their lives, and maybe they change their perspective and things shut down. And so I think it can happen. The risk, I think, for Ashes is extremely low. And the reason I think it's extremely low relative to other things is, have you seen an Ashes of Creation cinematic? Has there been like a big pump and dump style cinematic where they're literally just trying to garner hype via this? Or has it been month to month gameplay showing how systems work?
Yep.
So that's step one. So that's identifying like, hey, and this isn't like, oh, this is definitely this way and this other one's definitely this way. This is just one green flag. Okay, so they're developing in the open. Number two, are they selling off of like a big box sale? Are they trying to get a $40, $60 investment out of you right away? Or are they going with more of a lower end seasonal, like a monthly subscription based service where they're literally banking on their game? I think we can say that it's the second one. So that's another green flag. Yeah. And you look at all these things, and all the way up into development, they're going to have so much non-NDA ability for content creators and other people to live stream Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2, all these sorts of things, that if you as the player, you don't like what you're seeing, you just don't invest any money. Like, you're going to know exactly what the game's going to look like when it goes live, because you're going to see it. And that's the point of the monthly development. And so, and the best part is like, if you don't like it, you're out $15. You're not out $70. So, I mean, that's how I look at it. I think the risk is low. Obviously it's never zero, but yeah, that's my perspective.
Fox says, when does this game go live? By the way, I just got here. The Alpha 2 will be scheduled for next year. As far as like a full release, it's unsure, but the Alpha 2 is a persistent alpha, will last to launch. So it helps for most people to look at it as like early access. Let's just say it goes into early access next year, if that's easier. So Pocket says, LOL, Steven has 30 mil in this scammer. He sucks at it. I know, what a horrible scam. He did it backwards. So Fox says, I don't think it can happen with Ashes of Creation because there's not a upfront cost like other games. It's just a $15 sub. Well, it can't happen like how it happened with the day before, correct? And obviously I don't think this is what's happening or could happen. But the reason people say that with Ashes is because yes, there's no box cost, but you're looking at launch. You're looking at launch. There could be no scam at launch, but looking at the profit that they've already made with $250 alpha keys, the Kickstarter packages, the $500 I think Alpha 1, Alpha 2 packages, that could still, you never know.
Yep.
So that's what people are referring to, not really the launch of Ashes. He said, I'll see GTA 7 first. Oh my.
Wow.
I think and I'd like to agree. We have an open development with Ashes of Creation. We don't really have to worry about that. We're seeing this game progress from month to month. Like El said, they're not worried about flashy trailers or overselling their game. They are showing you meaningful progress on their project, and it's the most transparent and open development, I would say. Not even definitely MMO history. I don't want to say gaming history because I don't know the gaming history, but I would like to think it's the most openly developed MMO to date. Seeing the progress on this game month by month, seeing the passion from the studio and everything like that, and the vision behind the project.
Yep.
Alpha 1 having already happened, although that was probably a completely different thing, whatever. Um, it's it has a lot of promise. I don't think people can make their jokes like, "Oh, release in 2038." The time frame, I'm not going to argue with you. Who knows when it's going to release? I don't think we're too far out, being that we're about to get Alpha 2. I don't think they're going to want a long Alpha 2. But release wise, whatever. Scam, I'll have to stop you right there. Especially with how much money Steven has invested into this project. Like Pocket just said, 30 mil. Like, there's a whole studio. There's people who has a whole salary at Intrepid. Like, unless Steven's paying all these different people that he hired from LinkedIn and wherever, money just to fund these monthly streams, I think we're looking good. Is it a tab target game? Yes, it'll be a tab oriented game. It'll have hybrid combat with the action camera, but essentially yes.
Yeah, so before I bought my key, before I purchased mine, my perspective was I saw who they were hiring. They actually hired, I don't know if you remember this, Nice, you probably do, but they actually hired the lead storyteller from the Elder Scrolls Online to do the storytelling for Ashes of Creation. And so when you're pulling bigger named people from other companies, that I'm not saying it's not like it's never zero. I want to be clear. There's never a 0% chance that something is not a scam. There's always something. You should always look at it that way to protect yourself. And so, but my perspective is you don't hire people like that. You don't go $30 million in the hole. And let's just have a fun thought experiment. Let's all pretend we're scammers really quickly, okay? We all like to play MMORPGs. It's not hard for us to switch from being a dwarf or an elf. We're now goblins, okay? We are going to try and scam a large group of people. How do we go about doing it? How would you go about trying to milk as many people as possible from their hard-earned money off of a scam? Well, I would contend that during COVID time, when Steven had all of the attention of all of the content creators, of the Asmongold's, of the Lazy Peons, and all these sorts of things, and Alpha 1 came out, I think that would have been the time to pull the plug if it was a scam. I think that would have been the perfect time to garner attention, to basically say, hey, we are going to lower the price of this. It's now $40 or $50 for an Alpha 1 key. Come participate, whatever. And you gather all that attention you have and then just rug pull right then and there. Why would you do 2 more years of development? Why would you invest more money into production and into development that you can see happening from month to month? It doesn't make any sense. And so that's why I always push back when you see people say that the game was a scam. I don't know how you're seeing that. And even if you do believe that because you're not following well enough along or fine, you don't have to invest anything. You can just wait till the game goes live. And you can have your opinion when the game happens. You don't have to be out on a limb early in this sort of situation and just be wrong and be stupid. You can wait to have like information before you get there. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, definitely fair. If I think there was a point in time where pulling the rug would have been more efficient.
Yeah.
Like they got so many Alpha 2 keys purchased, which is $250 per. I mean, you just do the math yourself. Like there was so many more better opportunities. So yeah.
And they're
Simon
constantly
says
hiring.
it's not a scam. Yeah, and they're constantly hiring. It's not a Simon says it's not a scam, but can be misleading if they turn around and put monetization in it, like arcades. Yeah, so there could be, you never know, but that kind of stuff, we could theorize on that. I don't think we got to worry about releasing. I don't think we got to worry about that. But like, I have no reason to think Steven won't stay true to his ideals. But yes, if anything was to happen, we could see stuff like that happen, right? But yeah. Fox says, what's your opinion on the PvP aspect compared to New World? I actually just did a whole video about that this week, about what I'm expecting, because they are actually finally showcasing it's been a while. They've showed PvP. I wouldn't even go look back at that old footage. They're going to have a PvP showcase in January, and that's going to be the stream for us here, especially because we're a PvP side of Ashes mostly oriented kind of podcast for the most part. But they have their showcase in January, and that's going to be the one that really answers a lot of questions. But yeah. Oh, for sure, planning.
Go ahead.
I got a
post here from Galwood. quote, all income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners, aka no refunds. It was calculated. Yes. And then he says the AOC equivalent, he was talking about the day before. The AOC equivalent would be if they sold a bunch of Alpha 2 keys right before Alpha 2 test and then rug pulled the project a few months in. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's very similar to my example of when you have the most hype possible. Alpha 1, when Asmongold's talking about it, when Lazy Peon's talking about it, I think that would have been the perfect time to try to do a rug pull.
Yeah.
That's my perspective.
Yeah, like right now or anytime, like stringing this on another couple of years or months doesn't seem like the word, it doesn't seem like the move. Salman says, I think the word scam is thrown around too much. People think New World's a scam. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
True.
people just say, yeah, that is well said. That's true. Planet says, yeah, in my opinion, Steven's definitely going to make sure this ends up being the game he promised and that he wants to play. Exactly. That's one guy. Like this is the first time in a long time that we dealt with another gamer, not corporate. We talked about this earlier. It's not corporate, no board of directors. Sure, a lot of people will have like a vision. Like you have good, like people like Todd Howard with is it Bethesda?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he makes good games and whatever, but he still has a board of directors. He may have some good visions, some good games, but somewhere down the line, all that stuff gets twisted around, right? Whereas Steven, he's just a gamer who had money and wants to make something that he's proud of. So I think there's a difference there, and I think that's why we will be fine.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think when you look at the bigger scammy or scummy style games, that not even just rug pulls, I'm talking about pay to win, like these sorts of things, like just the worst possible things you could employ in a game. I think you constantly see the antithesis of that with Ashes of Creation. I think, and I'm once again, it's not zero, but what I would say is I would bet on this game. It may not release how you want, it may not release to everything that you want it to be, but I do think this game is going to release, and I think there's no reason to believe that it won't. So,
well said. Why is everybody hating on the New World DLC? It's fun. Fine.
Who is it? Send me out.
Contain, Foxy.
I'm just kidding.
David, like we got 3 in a row out of nowhere. But yeah, we're gonna I guess we can go ahead and call it there. Thank you so much. This has been a fun one. Thank you everyone that this is a new game. It will be the Alpha 2 will be released next year. Yep. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate everyone that remembered to follow on Twitch. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitch. I think the link is my link is in the description, or you probably find it somewhere in the comments. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube, like the stream. It helps get to more people. Obviously, check out on Elsa's channel. Give him a follow on Twitch. Before I get to the raid and everything, you had anything else? Anything else? You had anything else?
I was gonna read a few comments and talk to a few people, but we can wait. We've already gone 2 hours in, so I can just do that on the side here and then end mine here in a little bit. So,
oh, deal. Well, no. I mean, if you got some more comments, you got to catch up with the voices of Verra.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? Is if we do this, it's gonna keep going, and so
that's true.
But yeah, so I got a good message from Galwood, and he said, my impression is actually that Intrepid had a bit of a crisis with the missed 2020 date and Apocalypse, but then Steven and John decided to double down. Everything the past 3 years has been impressive. Before 2020, it seemed like a typical Kickstarter MMO project. I can get behind that. I think that's very well said. I think if you're following the development of the game, I think you see the progress, and the progress is not something you see in rug pull design style games, in my opinion. So,
yeah. Oh, so I just saw that comment, Drew. He said, "I hope your stream has been fantastic." The developers of I think he did that on purpose. He said, "I hope your stream has been fantastic." Fantastic is the name of the developers that made the day before.
I get it.
He says, "I'm a moron. I just tried to raid you, LOL, but I rated Nice Gaming, not Nice Gaming TV." Drew, god dang it, Drew. Yeah, someone took that one already. Like, who did that and why? Yeah, for sure. If you guys and thank you again for that donation, it's 385. If you guys want to stick around, I'm gonna raid he usually does New World content, but I think he's playing WoW tonight. We're gonna raid Arrow. I don't see too many other people live on Twitch this late. I'm gonna raid Arrow. You guys he's playing World of Warcraft if you guys want to stick around and watch that, but appreciate you guys. Go show him some love as well. And yeah, appreciate it. This has been another good talk. I'll try to do another bonus stream this week. We got the New World streams scheduled for Thursday, but I'll try to do a Wednesday one because Thursday I have an office Christmas party, so I don't know when I'll get back, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much, and peace.
See you guys.